the hell's happening? Dude, come on. Piece of shit. Huh? Oh no. Alright. Oh yeah. God damn it. Alright, there we go. Log in, boys. Whew. You know, reduce the glare. Holy shit. Oh. Oh shit. Yeah. Huntress? Oh, yep. Finally. Oh, look at that shit. Look at that. Oh. Is that wind damage? Poison? Oh yeah, man. Oh, we got the mount. The mount's confirmed. Oh yeah. Oh, 25 new skills. Hell yeah. Missourian wisps? Oh. So like spirit animals. Rogue exiles, yeah, we knew that was coming. Oh yeah, baby. Now we're talking. 100 plus new support gems? 100 plus new uniques? What? Oh. Dude, this is like crack. What? New game mechanics? Hallelujah. Yeah, baby. All right. Talking to audience. Woo. Oh my God. Yeah, baby. Oh my God, the hype is real. Ho, ho, ho. Yep. You can throw him. Javazon's back. Oh, hell yeah. Look at that. Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, baby. Mm-hmm. Tornado little twisters. Oh my God. Oh my god. It's like built-in scatter shot. That's badass.
The Huntress will usually want to hold them upward, which allows you to do a new skill.
Parry?
Down parry, your character will counterattack any incoming attack from monsters near you, stunning them. In addition, the monsters will take extra attack damage from your follow-up strike.
Holy shit.
Some specific skills are designed to be used after a parry and have extra effects. Disengage is a skill that does a quick jump back, damaging enemies in front of you, and can be used to interrupt other actions, like dodge roll. If you use it against a parried enemy though, it causes an explosion.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, that looks so good.
If you parry too much, you're gonna get stunned and possibly killed.
Okay.
You can combine this combo with whirl and slash. Slash, parry, disengage, and you'll get an explosion, the disengage, and a whirl and slash. The Huntress also has a variety of elemental spear throw attacks. You could use lightning spear to bounce lightning between your foes. Or you could throw explosive spears into the ground. These spears take a while to detonate, but when they do, they'll incinerate anyone caught in the blast. All spear throws on the Huntress can also be empowered by frenzy charges. For example, explosive spears will do an even larger explosion
Oh, shit.
around the ground. And these empowered versions can activate even more combos.
Nice.
Using whirling slash over ground fire will
Ooh.
summon into the whirl, adding fire to the explosion. Using twisters inside a fire wheel will shoot up flames from the
I'm sorry.
similar combos with ice and lightning too.
Ooh.
Now, a key aspect of hunting is exhausting your foes by causing blood loss. This skill is Rake, which dashes towards your target and unleashes a deadly slash, opening up wounds on your enemies.
Oh, nice.
Follow up, disengage, and watch them bleed out as they run towards you. On the health bar of monsters, you can see how much blood loss the enemy has experienced.
Okay.
And the Huntress has skills to take advantage of this.
Proper bleed build.
For example, using Blood Punch will thrust forward and cause a bloody explosion. The more blood loss, the
Ooh.
bigger the explosion. If you want to cause bigger bleeds, try out Rapid Assault. The final hit of this multi-hit combo will stick a spear into your enemy for a big bleed. Now, explosive spear and Rapid Assault both result in leaving spears behind, either in the ground or in enemies. But there are other skills that leave spears around too.
Fuck
like
yeah,
Storm
man.
Blast, that leaves an electrical spear that arcs towards enemies.
Okay.
What do with all these spears? Detonate them, of course. Thunderous Leap will allow you to jump onto and explode any spears, either in the ground or in your enemies. Now, as well as hunting animals, the Huntress also has the ability to work with them. While fighting any beast, you have the ability to tame it and use it as a companion. You can only have one companion at a time, but it will keep the mods that are on it. Try to have a rare beast with good mods take full
Oh my
advantage of
God.
the ability to tame it.
Dude. It's Ironheart evolved. Oh, that's so good.
Really try to
Okay. I still haven't heard back from him, by the way, so I don't know what's taking him. He's probably still working or something.
There are 22
So.
skills available for the Huntress.
Those strips,
You'll be slaying hundreds of
Yeah, the what?
sealant strips,
Mhm.
and my keypad
Okay.
out for delivery in one.
Gotcha.
But we still haven't talked about ascendancy classes yet.
Ooh.
What's ascendant? The first ascension class you could choose is the Ritualist. Exile is Mary Conditions, harnessing the power of animal sacrifice and the corrupted life force skill causes all enemies around you to grow volatile blood boils.
Oh my God.
When those enemies are slain,
Dude.
the boils will burst, spreading corrupted blood to all enemies around.
Holy shit. Blood boil.
This also excels in taking advantage of magical trinkets. The unfurled finger skill allows you to equip an additional ring on a finger around your finger. Taking Mystic Attunement increases the bonuses
3 rings?
you have equipped.
What?
Now this is one of my favorites. As the Whisper's Ask grants you a new skill.
Oh my God.
Sacrifice. Use the skill on the corpses of slain rare monsters to absorb the power in their blood, to give you one of their modifiers for a short time.
No way.
Specialize further into Ritualistic Sacrifice with As the Whispers Demand, which allows you to perform that skill on yourself instead of a corpse.
Holy shit.
On your hand, sacrificing some of your own blood to empower yourself.
Dude. Huntress blood build?
Amazon Ascension is those looking to hunt more than just beasts.
Amazon.
Trained as an elite guard, the most important as Mary Elders, the Amazon will use more traditional fighting techniques and master to perfection. The Predatory Instinct skill will cause you to reveal weaknesses in the defenses of rare
Oh.
causing you to deal more damage.
Bro.
See those weak spots represented on their life bars. fusion. Any charges you consume will infuse your weapon with elemental power, causing any projectile attacks to explode on impact. The critical strike skill is as simple as it sounds. It takes your excess accuracy and gives it to you as critical strike chance. Additionally, you have skills like Mystic Harvest, which allows your elemental damage to reach life, and as Mary Bird, you're able to use either class to restore both life and life.
Okay.
So those are the two new ascendancies for the Huntress.
Holy shit.
Those are not the only ascendancies in the Hunt. We've added a new ascension class for 3 of the other assistant classes too.
Oh my god.
First up for our warriors out there, Smith of Katava.
Smith of Katava.
The warrior is a blacksmith in origin, taught by his father Redwood. With this ascension, you can take
Holy
your
shit.
skills to new heights by embracing power from the insatiable one himself, Kitava. Smiths of Katava are master blacksmiths and have the ability to forge their weapon, quite literally. Using the Against the Anvil notable skill, you can enhance your weapon with fiery destruction before any battle. After doing so, your attacks will release explosions on hit for maximum devastation. You can also use the power of Kitava to summon an animated copy of your weapon to fight alongside you. A great blacksmith can do more than just forging a weapon, though. Armor can be enhanced too.
Brought up in the mail.
Now, you might think this ascendancy
advertisement.
class tree looks a little abnormal, and you're right.
Trash can.
There's a
Did
lot
you
of
already
notable
put the?
skills that disconnect
Recycling
from
back in, yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
By taking this point here, which is free to assign, your character is unable to equip body armors with mods of any kind.
Holy
So
shit.
your body armor must be normal. Sounds like a downside, right? Except now, in true blacksmith fashion, you get to craft your own body armor by taking those disconnected notables with your points. If you
Holy
want
shit.
your body armor to grant life, take this notable. If you want resistances, take this one. There's so many choices. Think of it like you're crafting your own body armor, just in a more literal sense. Now, let's move on to those who prefer the reassuring feel of a crossbow in your hands, the mercenary. Alongside the existing ascension classes, the
Holy shit.
Gambling Legionnaire and the Witch Hunter, you can now play as the Tactician. The Tactician is a former Blackguard elite. Free from the duties of a Blackguard, he is able to use his training to decimate the monsters of Rayclast and earn a healthy income doing so.
Oh my god.
This training comes in the form of various skills like suppressing fire, which causes all projectiles to pin enemies. When combined with the right where we want them notable, your pin not only stops your enemies from moving, but stops them from performing actions too.
Holy
Similar
shit.
to freeze. With a soldier's training, the Tactician also works well cooperatively. Using the whoever pays best notable, you can place multiple banners at once. The Watch How We Do It skill gives a portion of your weapon's damage to your allies as well.
Oh my god.
But if that isn't enough, you can also command your army of off-screen archers to unleash hell and carpet an entire area with arrows.
Rain of arrows.
Finally, witch players will be able to join their legions by becoming undead themselves. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're introducing the Lich Ascension. The Lich is a master of chaos and
Let's go.
sacrifice her life to enhance her energy shield. The Crystalline Phylactery skill allows you to nominate a jewel in which to contain part of your soul, massively increasing its power. There's just one downside to splitting your soul this way, though. If you have no energy shield, your mana costs will shoot up. The Necromantic Conduit skill causes you and allies to have Unholy Bite, granting extra damage as chaos damage.
Unholy Might's back.
Rupture the Soul makes enemies you curse explode with chaos damage.
Holy shit.
Dominion over Flesh allows you to apply an additional curse.
Holy shit. That's
It's
so...
safe to say you'll be a true master of the occult by choosing the Lich class. So Dawn of the Hunt has the Huntress and 5 new Ascension classes, but it doesn't end there. Let's take a look at some of the new skills we've added. Now you may remember we previously talked about the Raise Spectre skill. It's finally complete, and will be made available in the upcoming expansion. It can be found in the occult skills on the skill gem crafting panel. Raise Spectre is a skill that allows you to trap the soul of almost any monster in the game, which you can then summon in the skill panel. Spectres cost spirit and will revive automatically if they die, but the spirit cost varies based on the power of the monster. You could summon an army of weaker monsters, or a few of the more powerful monsters.
Holy
You
shit.
can combine them with your existing skeleton minions, or summon exclusively specters. It's all up to you and how you want to customize your army of the undead. Given there are hundreds upon hundreds of monster variants in part of Exile 2, it's safe to say you'll be experimenting with this one for a while. We look forward to seeing which monsters serve you best. Now let's move on to our next skill, Since we've been talking about summoning undead so much, let's have a change of pace and summon something a little more alive. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding the Summon Rower skill. Summon your friendly rower to aid you in combat as a minion. You can also mount your rower in combat at any time, allowing you to move at full speed, even while shooting arrows or throwing spears.
Interesting.
Be wary though, if you take too much damage while riding your mount, you can be knocked off and get overwhelmed. It's worth keeping an eye on your stagger bar, as falling off the mount can be almost certain death. On the topic of new ways to enhance your character, let's talk about support gems. Support gems are used to modify your skill gems in meaningful and interesting ways. Currently, we feel that a lot of builds have insufficient options here. To alleviate this, we're adding over 100 new support gems.
Oh my god.
Hema crystals will enable a new kind of bleed build, turning the damage over time you would have done into explosive vial crystals.
Dude. That looks so good.
It's a support gem for bow attacks, which can reward skilled players with good positional skills. Caltrops will allow you to enter the battlefield with hazards,
Caltrops.
throwing your foes as you fling spears through their ranks. But there's plenty more for every playstyle, such as enormity, unsteady tempo,
God damn it.
profanity, retaliate, syzygy. Yep, that's a real word. And many more. Now we've talked about a new class, new ascendancy classes, new skills, and new support gems. But let's not forget about the core of a true action RPG, the items. To start with, let's talk about uniques. We're adding over 100 new unique items. This time, we've made sure to add uniques with a focus on mid and end-game tiers to make sure there are more exciting items to find for higher level characters. Let's look at some examples. Embrace your inner devil with Chernobog's Pillar. It grants you a large amount of fire damage based on your block charts. The Coming Calamity allows you to become a true master of the elements, granting you all 3 elemental herald skills without costing any spirit. At the same
What?
time, it penalizes enemy resistances. Wastegate is a belt useful for builds using a single resource like Blood Magic or Archmage builds. With this belt, you can use 2 life flasks or 2 mana flasks. It's up to you.
Wow.
Now, we could go through these all day, but we'll leave most of them for you to discover. Suffice to say, though, we want there to be way more cool things to find. Over time, our goal is to add a unique to every single base item type at a minimum, so that you can chance any base in the game. Now, given that we have the Huntress, we have a set of unique spears from early game all the way through the end game as well. One example is Scyther's Spear, which combines bleed and fire in a powerful way. It allows your ignites to be activated, dealing substantially more damage. We're also introducing a suite of unique bucklets with some interesting parry mechanics. Helgyra's Arc, for example, allows you to parry projectiles from any distance. And we're also adding our first unique charms. Bayra's Anguish will not only protect you from ignite, but will also emit a devastating fire nova whenever you do get ignited.
Holy
In sum,
shit.
There's just a ton of new uniques to find. We can't wait to see the weird and broken builds that come out of it. Now we also want to talk about crafting options. In each major update during early access, we'll be continuing to add and improve the options here.
Holy
We
shit.
have various new crafting tools that have been added as rewards to many of the different types of new content that we're adding. But for now, I just want to mention the changes to runes. Runes add commonly available mods, but since they only have 1 tier, flat damage mods tend to get outclassed by enemy. So we've changed runes to have multiple tiers, allowing you to get higher tier mods than before. Our plan is to significantly expand the number of more specialized mods for crafting using socket balls as we add new content over time. And the first new set of those comes from what we're talking about next. In Dawn of the Hunt, we're adding Asmarian Wisps, which can be found throughout both the campaign and the endgame. The Asmari spirit has made itself present in Rayclast, and it appears to be trying to warn, or maybe prepare us for the coming darkness. You will first encounter a manifestation of it in the Grellwood in Act 1, where you'll meet Delwyn, a Asmari hunter who is trying to find out what exactly is causing the spirit to behave this way. As you approach the wisp, it will flee, leading you past monsters. Any monsters it comes into contact with are infused by it, making them more powerful. Each spirit is associated with a specific revered animal within Asmari culture. This one is a wisp of the Great Bear, and grants enemies extra life and stun. The wisp moves faster the closer you are, and as you move away, they slow down to wait for you. But if you get too far away for too long, they'll dissipate and return to the woods. As you continue to chase the wisp, it will find and possess a rare or unique monster, granting it a new powerful ability.
Ooh.
Because this was a wisp of the Great Bear, this monster now also has increased life and stun.
Holy
But
shit.
on top of that, it will periodically summon a large spectral bear that slams with wild fury. If you're able to defeat this foe, you will be rewarded. And each monster that was infused and killed along the way, the rewards will be increased. Each wisp has its own mechanics. The Wisp of the Winter Owl is a primal wisp that causes enemies to deal extra cold damage, gain energy shield, and release wind vortices on deck. When infusing a monster, they will call down large tornadoes to protect their host.
Oh my god.
The Wisp of the Wild Cat is a vivid wisp that causes affected monsters to deal more critical strikes and become more evasive. When it infuses a monster, it will summon a barrage of feline spirits that will attempt to tear you limb from limb. If you're lucky, you may even find sacred wisps that can do some pretty crazy things to the monsters they influence. Like the Wisp of the Cunning Fox, which turns normal monsters into magics, magic monsters into rares,
Huh?
and rare monsters into actual bosses.
No way. Oh, it's so
Nigerian
cool.
wisps drop a new set of socketable items that allow you to craft a wide range of interesting new mods onto your items. Each one may only
What?
be used on a specific item slot. As mentioned,
Dude.
Asmerian wisps can be encountered throughout the game, but there's also a new in-game map called the Asmeri Ranges, a
Holy
mountain
shit.
village where the Asmeri once lived, now overrun with corrupt monsters. This map always has multiple Asmeri rifts in it, and familiar, yet not quite the same boss fights. Asmerian wisps can also be further modified by the in-game atlas tree as well, and by tablets. But I'm not going to be the one talking about those things. In order to cover all the new content in in-game, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
I'm Mark Roberts, game director on Path of Exile.
Oi. I'm Mark
There's
Roberts.
a ton.
Oh, nope. Fuck. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. Dude. Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh shit. Come on, let's reload. What the fuck, dude? Oh, fuck off.
These comedians have one thing in common. They're not funny.
What? Why? Wait, what is this?
They're hilarious.
Cool.
Tell me more.
Hilarious. What a great name.
Brand new stand-up specials every month.
Damn.
Incoming later this year, Kumail and Johnny.
Did he wait that long? You're gonna have to. There's no choice.
Coming soon.
Come on. Come on. Oh, bullshit, man. The fuck is going on? Come on, motherfucker. Dude, what the fuck? What's happening? Dude, god damn these fucking commercials, man. Horse's ass.
With fractured mirror-like objects. As you move around the map, the terrain itself elevates from below, creating the ground you walk on.
What?
In this unique map, all the rare monsters are mirrored, so you're always fighting two
Oh,
of the same
no.
rare at the same time, which can prove quite difficult.
No.
If you manage to overcome that challenge,
Why,
and make it to the end of the map,
Calandra?
you'll be presented with a broken mirror, a powerful altar-like object that contains an item within it. The item contained within is a new base type, either an amulet or a ring. It
Whoa.
can be crafted to have additional prefixes or suffixes.
Oh my
of each
god.
of the other.
Okay.
The unique map we'll show today is one based around the essence mechanic. You enter a crystalline cavern.
Okay.
Where you find a powerful map boss imprisoned in the center. It is surrounded by many rare monsters.
Holy
also
shit.
imprisoned in essences. By freeing and defeating the rare monsters, the essence they held will be upgraded to a greater essence and be added to the imprisoned map boss. How brave are you? How many essences do you add to the boss? Overdo it, and you might lose everything. Underdo it, and you might regret it.
Uh-oh.
It's your choice. Speaking of essences, alongside visual improvements, you're now able to apply Varlogs to corrupt the essences with a range of unpredictable outcomes.
Okay.
It could increase the number of essences, reroll all the essences to the same type, or even upgrade the essences to greater essences. What if they're already greater essences? Well, it can upgrade those too. We have 4 new corrupted essences. Essence of Hysteria, Delirium, Horror, and Insanity. Each corrupted essence has its own interesting combat mechanics. For example, the essence of Insanity causes you to question even your own mind, as monsters split into shadowy clones, and you must locate the real one before a devastating icy explosion freezes everything around it.
Come on, sweetie.
Each has their own crafting outcomes. The essence of Insanity can be applied to a belt. It adds a mod that will ensure the next Varlog used on the belt will guarantee adding 2 enchantments.
I know,
It's worth
sweetie.
noting
I know.
all the essences in the unique map can also be corrupted too, if you're willing to risk it. It's worth noting we have also added 10 extra
No.
added stats points
I know,
per
sweetie.
journey, completing 5 different unique maps. Now, new maps are just the
Son of a
beginning.
bitch.
We had a goal where we wanted to make sure you were constantly finding exciting content, and that it could be lurking around any corner. So, we have added a bunch of new things that you could stumble into in any map you run. On your travels, you will sometimes encounter rogue exiles. Others like you who have been exiled and are openly hostile. Some are malicious, some are mad, while others are simply fiends for loot. They will challenge you, a fight to the death. They use the same skills available to players, and even the same items. They aren't just dressed up in those items, they're actually using them. It's going to feel like a true player versus player situation. Of course, if you are able to slay these exiles, those items will all drop on the ground. So if you encounter an exile using a powerful or valuable unique item, which you can see displayed under their life bar, you want to be damn sure you kill them. Because if they kill you and your party, they'll portal out, taking their items with them. Every fight will feel completely different depending on the items they come equipped with. These exiles are much smarter than your regular monster. They have capabilities to dodge roll, avoid your abilities with smart pathfinding, smart targeting, and much more action-packed gameplay. Fortunately, they're like you and they're not super durable. Unless, of course, they're wearing uniques like Calm's Heart, in which case, expect a longer battle. There are 12 different rogue exiles you can find, each with their own skills and personalities. Some may insult you, while others may admire your honor in combat. Another encounter you might stumble onto in Dawn of the Hunt are one of 4 new unique strongboxes. Strongboxes are chest modifiers. When you try to open them, they activate traps and spawn waves of monsters that you must defeat to access the loot. Let's take a look at 2 of the new unique boxes that are harder to find and behave just a little bit differently. The Ogham's Legacy Strongbox has a corpse splayed out in front of the rune-carved stone. Upon interacting with the stone, you activate Forbidden Ezomite magic, which revives the monster as a powerful rare. The Strongbox comes with a modifier which determines how many times it will revive that rare. Each time you defeat the monstrosity, the Strongbox revives it again, adding an extra modifier to the monster. With each resurrection, it becomes more difficult, but also more rewarding. This Strongbox is infused with thaumaturgy from ancient file technology. Eshel's Torment has a powerful artifact inside, and is guarded by chaos itself. Defeating the monsters will grant you a unique item, with a specific corrupted outcome. You'll have to find the other 2 for yourself to see what they do. Now, let's talk about the introduction to the endgame. Upon starting the endgame, Doriani tasks you with cleansing corruption to help restore the land. However, in practice, the quest objective just sent you on a grind to clear 15 maps. We wanted to make the quest to unlock your Atlas passives much more interesting. Now, Doriani is tasking you with a more specific objective. On the Atlas you will find areas of corruption caused by the beast. In the center of each one you will find a corrupted nexus, the source of the affliction. In the areas leading up to the Nexus, you will notice that corruption spills out from slain enemies and amalgamates into powerful monsters. Corrupted maps existed on the Atlas before, but we've done significant work on improving these monsters. We've also done a full pass on the modifiers on these maps to make them more interesting and more rewarding. Once you reach the Nexus, you'll have a new task: cleanse the source of corruption. When you defeat the last rare in those maps, you spawn one of 3 terrifying bosses, amalgamations of corruption itself. After defeating that boss, Doriani will come and cleanse the corruption for good. As the remains of the boss are purged of corruption, it coalesces into raw crystallized power, which you can use to gain points for your Atlas passive skill tree. The upgrade system that allows you to add and enhance content in your maps. We didn't stop there though. When you complete a corrupted Nexus, all of the remaining surrounding corrupted maps will become cleansed maps. Cleansed maps also have new monsters, a new boss, and their own set of modifiers and rewards, including finding fracturing orbs by slaying cleansed enemies. These orbs can be used in crafting on a rare item to cause one of its modifiers to become fractured. A fractured modifier cannot be modified by any means. You are able to freely modify the item, ensuring the fractured modifier will never change. If you get the right item with the right mod, it can prove to be a very powerful crafting base indeed. You
Dude.
must now choose.
Now we're talking.
Do you complete all the corrupted maps and then the Nexus? Or maybe you beeline to the Nexus, complete it, and do all the remaining maps cleansed. Both have rewards to entice you and challenges to assess. Now, let's have a talk about towers. One thing we've had a lot of feedback on is the busy work around running towers and managing your tablets.
Yep.
The first change we've made here is that we have reduced the number of towers drastically, so there are now 1/3 as many as before, but we've made them much more powerful. To start with, tablets now inherently add twice as many mechanics, but that's not all. Running higher tier maps and towers now increases the number of mechanics applied by tablets.
Okay.
By tier 15, the bonus is double, allowing a single tablet to now add 4 times as many mechanics as before.
Holy moly.
So, we're running far fewer towers, dealing with fewer tablets, and affecting even more maps than before. But
Nice.
because there are fewer towers overlapping with each other, you won't get as many opportunities to stack different tablets. In order to solve this, we've made it so that each tower can consume up to 3 tablets at once. You always get 1 slot on completing the tower,
Okay.
but if you can complete a tower with more mods on the waystone, you can unlock a 2nd or 3rd slot. Overall, this allows for even more juicing from towers, while
Holy
drastically reducing the amount of busy work you have to do. On top of that, towers are much more interesting maps because they can now spawn with all mechanics, including bosses. Each tower map has a new boss. Let's take a look at a couple here. The boss fight of the Alpine Ridge map has 2 powerful witches contesting for territory. One witch has an affinity for ice, the other fire. Who will win? Hopefully neither. The boss of the Sinking Spire map is a remnant of the Val that has been charged with lightning. It uses a full suite of lightning abilities, but be careful. If any of them hit the surrounding constructs, they will power up. Another thing that we've seen a lot of feedback about is sustaining waystones. As we looked into it, we realized that the people who couldn't sustain waystones were dying a lot more than we had expected. And that made us realize something. During the campaign, the expectation is that you can die multiple times in order to learn how to overcome challenges. You are able to learn how the monsters behave, adapt to their skills, and eventually overcome them. But as soon as you get to the end game, you are effectively no longer allowed to die if you want to sustain waystones. By the time you are getting towards the end of endgame, we want you to have to be careful not to die. But it certainly shouldn't be that we have such a sudden shift as you run your first maps. The first change we're making is you can now respawn and return to a map if you die. Continuing from where you left off. When you start the endgame, you get up to 6 total attempts per map. As you add more modifiers to a waystone, the number of respawns goes down. This means that as you get to the point that you're running every waystone as a rare, you will have to be more careful. In parties, everyone gets to respawn that number of times.
What?
We still think it's important that you can kill a boss in one go.
Oh, come
In
on.
order to allow that to happen, we've made a change so that once you start the boss fight, it changes over to the same respawning system we use for pinnacle bosses. This means that the
Oh.
map owner can choose to respawn everyone at the same time.
Oh. Okay. That's better.
Another complaint we've seen a lot of is players not wanting to do the pinnacle content because of the experience penalty from dying. A change we've made here is that all pinnacle content now no longer grants experience, but also no longer removes experience on death either. Dawn of the Hunt also brings the first batch of Twilight Order reliquary keys from the early access supporter packs.
Oh.
These keys contain items selected by our supporters. They can contain any unique item found in Path of Exile 2.
Okay.
If the selected item is a pinnacle boss drop, then only special keys dropped by this content will be able to provide these items. For example, Hand of Wisdom in action can only come from a key dropped by Zesht. We're also making a change that allows pinnacle boss uniques to drop at any difficulty. Rarer uniques will be rarer at lower difficulties, but still possible to find. This applies to the drop chances for the reliquary keys from this content as well. We spoke about towers and tablets earlier, but we have also added a suite of unique tablets. Each of these adds crazy interactions to the map's influenced fire. For example, this unique tablet allows you to run any map in a tower's radius without requiring connections, which can be quite useful for jumping gaps and traveling around your atlas. And this tablet causes all runic monsters spawned during expedition encounters to be duplicated, and weakens all expedition monsters that emerge from the ground. The Atlas tree has also been expanded, and you can find many of the new mechanics there, and improvements to existing ones too. Now through this live stream we have mentioned quite a few new crafting options that we've added. New runes, corrupted essences, fractured mobs, and jewelry crafting bases. But we did have just one more crafting system to talk about. Recombination. Expedition was the only in-game mechanic that was lacking a crafting system, so that needed to change. Recombination is a mechanic that might be familiar to some players. It allows you to merge two items together, hoping to get the best elements of each on a single new item. This new crafting bench will be unlocked as you complete your first expedition, and requires artifacts found during expeditions to fuel it. The rarer the mods on the item you are combining, the more expensive the cost. That wraps up all the major in-game changes we're talking about today. With all the system changes and new content, we can't wait to get in there, start blasting maps, and obliterating monsters. There is one more thing we wanted to clarify before we move on, which is that all the content we've talked about today will be made available in the existing early access leagues, so you can play your existing characters. However, there will be new leagues made for those who wish to start in a fresh economy. It is recommended to start over and get the full new experience in the Dawn of the Hunt leagues. For all our existing early access players,
Fucking god, dude. Come on. Dude, come the fuck on, man. Sick.
at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for the release. Keep an eye on the news. On
Cool.
release weekend, we expect to launch the new mystery box and many new microtransactions, including Path of Exile 2's first alternate skill effects. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to playing the Huntress, trying new builds, and exploring the new endgame next week. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Yay. Oh my god. Microphone too quiet, guys. Come on, guys. Turn. No, my. Oh my god. Someone turn up the volume. Holy shit. Oh my god, dude. Guys, we can't hear it. Dude, turn up the volume. Fuck's sake. Dude. Oh. Yep, people are gonna start leaving now. Fuck. Wow. Unbelievable. What the fuck are they doing, man? Where's the volume? Guys, pump up the volume. We cannot hear the stream. Fuck's sake.
So hopefully that'll be it by the time Zero comes out. We've kind of got a plan of doing that. Yeah, like I think it's a much better design than what we had before.
If it's not there for O2O, it'll be as
very
soon as it can afterwards. But yeah, you know, spur of the moment, night before the live stream design sessions. But increased player agency and visibility into the success result is just a win. And honestly, took way too long to, you know, get to the point of us actually going. This is just straight up better to have observability into that and the freedom of choice.
Sure. Yeah, that's the thing. The combination definitely felt like something that was both really high end in terms of crafting that was intended for, but also just even understanding. This seems more intuitive.
Yes. You just pick what you want.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So it does sound like it's a little bit of a very high end crafting.
It might end up being, but I'm not like. It sort of depends on how the numbers come out. Like because we only just designed this, we need to still work out like exactly the numbers end up looking. But I mean, look, we have to be sure. Obviously, whenever we're designing any crafting system, we have to be really sure that we're not like screwing over finding stuff on the ground. So you know, you have to sort of have that balance, and that's so that kind of informs everything we do with crafting usually.
One difference here, though, of course, is if the success chance fails, both items are destroyed as opposed to always keeping one.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Alright, start
So it's
queuing.
basically percent chance for success, and if it fails, item's gone. So
Roughly what do you think you try to pitch just choosing two?
it depends on what mods you're selecting, but I'm kind of thinking kind of like 35%ish kind of thing for like two normal mods, that kind of thing. Like for both, for the both. If you pick two, and then you know we'll
it kind of depends. Again,
it kind of depends. We'll see how
higher tier mods are rare. And,
yeah, exactly. So sort of
it also the other thing is it's going to have a fixed cost, so it's not going to
Yeah.
you know.
And the idea is like doing a single expedition should be enough to do every combination. So you know you're going to be doing them like relatively often as you're doing it.
So is the part of Expedition where you get to craft with the NPCs still a thing? Undergrounding this?
Yeah, I mean you still got that whole mechanic, and like so it's effectively it's competing for the artifacts.
Yeah.
Between recombination versus buying.
So is there some buffs intended for that then to make it more competitive?
Oh, yeah. It definitely needs some love in the future, but not at this time.
Yeah. It seems like the systems can kind of go hand in hand where you giving you items that you can then potentially recombinate.
It's so true. You can use the ingredients of one, the other, or the outcome of one, and as an ingredient in the other.
God fucking damn it, man.
Later on for sure, because there was a lot announced there, which I'm quite excited about. Definitely exceeded my predictions for it that you had in terms of nothing. But firstly, though, just a quick clarification on the league. So there's not going to be a wipe for new players joining us. If you were playing a character, you can still keep playing a character. But a lot of long-term Path of Exile players know the importance of playing on a fresh start, and that's also really important for you guys as well.
For sure, yeah. I mean, basically, if we don't have, like, any character that's, come from before, you're just not gonna, like, because the balance is so different and because so many things have changed, there's, like, no point in even listening to feedback for someone who's playing in the old league. Like, it really has to be that you're doing a fresh start and just seeing how things go in the new economy. So, like, we were really sort of, it was kind of an interesting decision about whether or not we should make it so that all the content is exclusive, or rather, like, what amount of content would be exclusive to the league versus not. And the issue that we had was that, so I mean, like, a league means something in Path of Exile. In order for something to rise to the level of a league, it needs like a certain amount of features. And the original thing we were thinking about doing that way would be the Asmeri and Wisps, but there wasn't quite like the kind of like meta mechanics and stuff with that. So like we didn't quite rise to the level of feeling like it deserved to be a challenge league. And at the same time, we've also got a lot of new players playing Path of Exile 2 and never played Path of Exile before. So we were a little bit like we kind of were deciding like, hey, should we make it exclusive or not? We sort of decided, you know what, for this one we're not going to, and then what we'll probably try and do is for the next league that we do, we'll actually make it a proper challenge league with like its own exclusive mechanic and so on. But yeah, it's a little bit funny because like in early access it's a bit of a different situation, you know. Like, so, yeah, we'll sort of see how this goes anyway. But certainly I would encourage everyone just like starting in a new character. I think you'll have a much better time because obviously there's structural changes to the passive tree. It's like if you log in with your character, you're going to have like the tree's going to be reset. You have to do stuff. There's things like that that are going to happen that mean that and also just balance changes, right? Like huge amounts of them. So you're going to have a better time playing when you start.
That's it. And speaking of the Huntress, then, so we saw our initial Huntress quite some time ago now and had some hands-on time with different things, but I certainly, having played that before and played it now recently, the Huntress has changed quite a lot.
Yeah.
So what was the, how hard was it to get it ready for release? What was going to do that?
I mean, it's funny, class design is one of those things where every time you add something, it can make you reevaluate everything else, which is why it's so hard to predict like how long the class will take. So like it changed a lot since the last time we had like we were showing Huntress. And honestly, like it's like while there are some skills that you just see, like it just plays completely different. And I mean, whenever we're looking at like how we should design something like this, it really comes down to like what is the special about the character class, like how can we double down on that to make sure it feels different. So with the Huntress, you've obviously got spears as a base type. The key difference between a spear and any other weapon type is that you can both use them at melee and you can also use them at range. You can throw them. And so because of that, we really were just really trying to incentivize everything possible so that you use both of those things. And action RPG players, they're generally speaking, the balance can often be such that you only really want to do one thing and do that one thing well. So trying to incentivize the kind of ranged and melee is quite a thing. And I mean the way we do it effectively is try to make sure that like there are combo chains where a ranged thing can combo with something that's melee and a melee thing can combo with something that's ranged, and then also give you good abilities to move between the two states. And so that kind of means that you end up with a very like agile character, like you're constantly moving like backwards and forwards and kind of moving around. And I would say that like given that it's the Dex character, that it's good that it feels that way, that it feels the most agile of all of the melee character classes. That's been a really good one. But I mean, look, there in terms of changes, I mean, look, there are just changes all the time. Like the frenzy charge thing was like relatively late in development. Like there's quite a lot of things going on that just meant that the field kept on evolving. And another big one, of course, was parry, which I honestly was very skeptical of working. And Mark, Mark was the one who saved it. Honestly, like I was like, you know what? There was like 3 times I think where I was like, you know what? I don't think it's gonna work. And then you were like, okay, I think we're gonna save this. I was like, give me a week. Yeah, exactly. And it works completely differently than most games because in most games, obviously, parrying the way that works is that you have to time the like to push the block button exactly the right time. That's just something that just wouldn't work in our combat system because you're often packs of monsters. It's just like you don't really have the ability to read combat in that way in our game. And at the same time, we need to make something where there's going to be like if a single monster in a pack hits you, you need to be able to respond to that with something that's going to you need to be able to respond in a way where you don't just then immediately get hit by a bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
So having it so that the parry, like it always parries, but it's then taking advantage of what the parry does to the monster by following up with something that's going to give you like an explosion or something like that to kind of deal with the pack. That's something that sort of allows that counter gameplay to work in our game. So you've kind of got two primary parry follow-ups. You've got the frenzy charge one, which dashes back, which means that you don't have to worry about the monsters hitting you. And then you've also got the one that there's another one which I don't believe we showed there, which does Fangs of Frost, which does a counter where you attack with ice, which freezes the pack. That's another way to counter. So in both cases, you've kind of got something that's kind of dealing with the fact that you've got all these monsters around you. And that was kind of the biggest challenge I think we had with that.
Yeah, I'll also make note of those support gem. I found that you can essentially any attack that allows you to follow up a parry to generate a charge too. So it doesn't
Right.
have to be like
Yeah, in that case. Yeah, there's other.
create your own parry.
Yep, and then of course there's always Sniper's Mark, and there's like there's a skill that does give you a guaranteed crit, so that's a potential option as well. Like you've got a few different ways to generate them.
Because parry guarantees a light stone.
Yeah.
You always get that more window to actually engage or do a thing before you're under danger again.
And I'll tell you this, like, I am one of those players who never parry, right? In any game ever, because I can never do it. It's always just so frustrating. So I was very skeptical of that, but it feels really good. You've both managed to make it something that's easy to do because you can just hold the button down and parry at any time. There's no skill involved in that. But at the same time, you can incentivize making it so that you do want to still try and time it as best you can personally. How have you done that? How have you made it so that like you actually still want to kind of play it skillfully?
Well, I mean, ultimately, each time you're holding down the parry buttons when you're not attacking, right? So you still want to kind of minimize the window, but at the same time, like the timing is just not like not as bad. But the nice thing as well is that like once you do successfully parry, it's very obvious. You get the sound, you get the tone on the monster. It's very chunky.
Yeah.
So it means it's very obvious when it's supposed to counterattack. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I think that it came out really well. And honestly, one of the funny things about it is that it immediately made me realize like how bad shields are
Yes.
in comparison. Which is why we're also trying to ninja in a change to how shields work at the last minute, which we'll see if it makes it to 0-2-0. I was playing around with it last night.
This was
and,
8 p.m. last
yeah,
night.
8 p.m. last night, exactly. I was
Messing with this.
Yeah, messing around with it, and I won't talk too much about how that's going to work, but effectively we want to make shields, the shields better as well, kind of build something into those. So that's the plan there. We'll see if it makes it for.
Yeah, following that kind of similar design space idea of being able to do a bit more with it.
Yeah.
And then that feed into other skills and things like that as well. So there's a lot of room there to play with. So we talked about Huntress being very, very combo heavy, and she has the deepest combo chains out of anyone so far, even exceeding like things you can do with Monk. You've got 3-4 different skills deep of things you can start to synergize together. So how do you balance? How do you make that fun? Firstly, like rather than like onerous, for example.
Well, I mean, I guess there's a few things. Like one of them is it just has to be very readable and understandable when, like what you do and when you can do it. And I think the other thing that's really to our advantage here is reusing skills in multiple ways, so you can make a deeper combo chain without requiring you to be using as many skills in order to do it. So the way that Whirling Slash and Tornadoes interact with ground effects and kind of like all that stuff sort of means that you're using Whirling Slash multiple times as part of the same combo chain. And that's an idea I think that I'd like to try and explore more, because I think that it is a cool way to kind of extend the combo chain. Yeah, as I said, without sort of getting too many things involved, and that makes it a lot cooler. So yeah, I'll think a bit more about how we can apply that to other classes and other skills. But it's worked out really well here.
Yeah, it's a bit of like a loose create your own combo system in a way. Like obviously there's intended combos, but because it's interacting with something that's fundamental like ground effects, you're able to combo with anything that creates a ground effect. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. Like I added shocked ground to the backflip skill, or I got a companion pet that had a shocked ground aura.
Nice.
As like so that was just there and that was available all the time.
I mean, it's funny as well because it also works on just enemy ground effects, and so
Yes.
sometimes you can just get a damage boost because the rare just happen to be dropping ground fire or something. So that's kind of fun. But it's been it's just a lot of fun to play. The first time I ran into that was actually in the graveyard, but there's these like chests that like pop open with fire, and like I was using tornadoes, and then one of them just randomly turned into a fire tornado, and I'm like, oh, what happened there? Oh, yeah, sweet. It was just like a really cool moment where it just sort of interacted with the environment, which was really
It always feels like you're getting a little bit of something extra for free when you're taking advantage of the enemy effects or a boss fight that just has burning ground everywhere. It's sweet. So how do you go about balancing though when you have a class that has deeper combos and kind of somewhat requires you to do a bit more versus a class or a skill or a build that is just bombing?
I mean, you have to ultimately make the combos matter, right? And I think actually that's one of those things that we're trying to really focus on with the balance changes we're doing in Dawn of the Hunt more generally, is making sure that even, like, I think it's the case where some of the combo gameplay kind of degenerates a little bit by endgame in a way that I want to make sure it still feels rewarded. And so we were sort of doing various checks, recently about, like as a random example, right? Like, so on the Mercenary, we found that doing, but when you get to endgame, doing armor break, what's it called? The armor piercing that causes armor break, followed with high velocity rounds, is just worse than just using high velocity rounds. And that's like really bad, right? Like, we have to make sure that we're improving that stuff. So it's like sometimes you just get these things where like the balance by endgame kind of degenerates in a way that that doesn't support the combo anymore. And so we have to make sure that when we're looking at buffing things, that we're like making sure that when we're doing it, it's to support the fact that using more things is actually a good thing. We're really trying to make sure that we're bringing some of that, improving some of that stuff as well.
So do you have like a baseline there of where like the really simplest build should be, the build that just bombs?
I mean, you mean in terms of damage or in terms of like what it does? I mean, we always want.
I guess
to
the
be
players,
able to build that way.
the players have to do a combo.
I mean,
like,
no,
people don't want
ultimately
to.
you never have to, right? But it sort of what it means is that you are sacrificing something, but the ideal situation is that like you don't feel like you have to do combos. You feel like you want to do combos, right? Like, you feel rewarded for them. It's like should feel like a fun, like, oh, I can add this, that's the feeling you should be getting.
Yeah, I think the Huntress is doing that very well. Must be like extremely high. I don't think I've ever seen this like range melee combo done well before.
Right. Well, I mean, it does require a lot of discipline, and it means that a lot of skills like end up on the cutting room floor because you try them out and then you realize, well, if this is in the game, that's the only thing I'm ever going to do. So you got to be really careful about that stuff.
Certainly playing the Huntress now makes me go back and look at the other classes and be like, we need to up that the level there, and we missed the mark a little bit now because this is better. And who's to say the next class won't even be better and make us question even this? But
But that's the way it is with class design.
That's what he says when we like literally when you make a new class, you question everything. He's not understating the level of questioning everything.
Yeah, do you see like going back to the mark at some point and looking for more like opportunities to link skills together with
I mean,
combos?
we haven't got to the full skill set for any class yet already, and we need to add more pieces.
Because I think there's at least 4 skills that were designed currently.
Range are the same. There's extra poison skills. There tended to be more chaos darts. There's all kinds of stuff. We have to obviously at some point fill all that in. Hard to say when, but we're going to try and incrementally get it. Like much like how Ray Spectre and I mean the mount works with the Huntress, but we were like, let's give something for the Ranger this time. Let's give something for the Summoners out there this time, and so we're just going to keep filling in those gaps all the time.
And it feels like you're getting better at class and skill design as you go too. So I imagine the last class you're going to release is going to be like amazing. You look back at the first ones and be like, ooh.
If possible.
Well, that is the worry. But whatever. That's
But look, with that machine, you've got another round of going through everything and picking up again, right? So
that will never end.
Meow, meow, meow.
That's it. So with the parry came the kind of looking at the player
You're gonna
getting
try
particular
yours on
player
it
heavy
about
stun. So
2.5.
it's almost
Okay.
like help,
Yeah,
like,
it's
like,
getting a little chill.
It's gonna be
You're not gonna like this.
Well, the funny thing,
Let's talk about why.
there's a few things like that actually, because so I mean, for a start, like we needed the downside of parry to be like the get stunned out of it. But then when we're looking at how long, like we're like, okay, right now, even, and it's true with shield block as well. But it's like if you get stunned out of that, the amount of time you
all the
get stunned out
texture.
is actually not even enough time for most bosses to fall attack on you. And so, well, where's the downside if it doesn't even have enough time? So we did have to extend that out a little bit, and it makes you a little more careful. But just to warn people, right, there's a few other things like we lowered what's it called the thing that makes it more easy to elemental statuses apply to you. Ailment threshold. That's right, ailment threshold. Yeah. So we lowered ailment threshold to actually make it so the player has those mechanics happen more to them, right? It's like right now through campaign, like you barely get frozen or burning or shocked really, to be honest. So there's stuff like that we've had to do to kind of make sure that, because if you don't have that stuff actually happen to you, there's no point mitigating it. And it's like, things like charms were like not very useful because, those mechanics would happen to you. There's stuff like that, right? The downsides do actually matter in order to make it so that, that you then, there's other things you can do to sort of bypass those downsides. So, yeah, that's kind of one of those things that, you just have to make sure is there.
I did always find it a little bit strange that like I was able to count the number of times I was frozen in the campaign on one finger.
For sure. For sure. For sure. But
And
yeah,
it's always by those wild ghosts.
yes.
So expect a little bit more, like a little bit more danger from the stun. I definitely got a couple times with every stun.
Yeah.
So that's mostly occurring if you're like doing bad blocking or parrying, but can it also occur from like taking really big hit or something?
So at least we've discussed that. We've gone through a whole bunch of different like should certain boss abilities heavy stun you, and if you speak into enough stun threshold, it like demotes it to a light stun, and if that, there's all kinds of multi-hour discussions we've had, and we haven't really come to anything conclusive there. But it's only from mount, raise shield, and parry, and of which, at least for all of them, you can see your stagger bar filling up. It's worth noting things like evasion apply to. So when you're parrying, we turn off your evasion from taking damage because the block does, right? And otherwise you'd be like, I'm going to parry it. Oh, I evaded it. It didn't parry. But you can evade the stagger build up. You don't take the damage anyway.
The evasion
Everyone
still
misunderstands that.
works.
So high evasion will mean you can parry for longer. There's a bunch of parry stuff on the tree, including damage affecting the debuff, the duration of the debuff, so you get to benefit for it longer. Reducing stagger is all over the place for both mount and so in the dex section of the tree. So yeah, you can mitigate. I mean, my expectation is probably you'll get some in-game builds that are just like I can parry forever. There's no real consequence. So. Not every skill can be parried, of course.
Yeah, it otherwise follows the slam rules. If it's a slam from above or below, you can't parry. Much to your frustration for some
So, I mean, there are a few things where I've got disagreements about what looks like it's parryable, but
My hopeful there was when it's contentious, people would bring it up and would change it. Right?
Sure.
So like, if it's on the line, it's meant to be blockable. If it isn't clear, and there was no way with hundreds of bosses and dozens of bosses that were in a vicinity.
So you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but action RPGs kind of naturally pull you towards one damage type, one skill, one specific thing, optimizing as much as possible, because otherwise you're just making a bad build a lot of the time. But I think Huntress has a bit of everything. She's got bleed, she's got all the elements, she's got physical. The only thing she doesn't have
What's
is
up?
something else that's gonna
Yeah,
work
yeah,
right now.
things you shouldn't
How do you like promote
Uh-huh.
this?
Never buy
Like, all these
appliances.
different stuff together?
Oh yeah, duh. Of course.
Get two or three skills, or are these supposed to come together, and how do you manage that?
well, there's a few things. So one of them is that we provide a lot of combos with the expectation that you'll probably be focusing around like a few specific things rather than necessarily using the whole tree. So like there's that. The other thing